Hello YouTube, it's me, it's Michael B. Thank you so much for checking out the video, and in today's video, we've got some pretty big news to share with you, as Arcade1Up have announced some pretty big business moves in the last little while that could have very positive effects on their future and what games they release and where they will be sold. On top of that, Zen Studios had their most recent Pinball Bites yesterday and announced 2 new pinball tables, which we'll get into, and gave us some clues on the upcoming Williams tables. And we're going to discuss all of this right after this. So that's right, guys, it's the Friday News Blast. We got a little bit of Arcade1Up news, business news that I wasn't originally going to cover, but I think it actually could be really interesting and could yield positive results for those of us who want to see more Arcade1Up recreations in the very near future. And on top of that, Pinball FX released some pretty cool news, and I can't wait to share it with you. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you so much, everybody, for checking out the video. Guys, I always appreciate the support. If this is your first time to the channel, you like what you see, go ahead, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and all that YouTube jazz. First up, Bence and Akos were back yesterday with another episode of Pinball Bites. They did have some pretty big news. Theater of Magic is gone from their office, replaced with, in my opinion, the much more impressive Circus Voltaire. Now, during the show, they were there to announce 2 new games coming to Pinball FX, and if you're like me, you were crossing your fingers saying, please be Williams, please be Williams, please be Williams. Well, they weren't, but they were still pretty cool. First up, let's talk about the game that I was the least excited about, just because I have absolutely no love for the IP. I've never played it, I've never really understood it, but it is a popular IP, and that is Goat Simulator. The game looks absolutely bananas. It could be incredibly fun. It's one of those, I'll wait and see what it's like, but in terms of an IP, this is not one I had on my bingo card of Zen Studios making into a pinball game, but it could be incredibly fun. We'll see how it turns out. Looks like it's got a lot of weird video game elements into it. So, yeah, let's check out Goat Simulator Pinball. Wow, I don't know what to say. Now, in much better and exciting news, they also announced the Princess Bride Pinball. This is an IP that pinball fans have wanted for a very long time to show up on a physical machine, and Zen Studios is now bringing it to us. This one came out of nowhere, and I am super excited for it, being a huge movie fan. I actually even started collecting the McFarlane toys, well, the ones that appear at Dollarama here on discount here in Canada, but yeah, I love the Princess Bride, so very excited to see this. Now, there is a physical machine also coming out of the Princess Bride right now, but it's coming out from a company called Multimorphic. This is a weird and very expensive pinball machine company where some of the table is actual, like, virtually put on there while there's an attachment that does the top part and the ramps. When this was announced, it was super exciting because it was Princess Bride, but it was kind of like a wet fart because no one really wanted this exact IP to be coming from Multimorphic. Now, fans of the IP have a much cheaper alternative with the Princess Bride coming to Pinball FX. The game looks really good. It seems to hit all the key features. We know the official voices from the movie are being used. The elements all on the table look really good. I'm super excited. Good job, Zen Pinball. You got a A+ IP here with the Princess Bride. In my opinion, you guys are knocking it out of the park with this one. So yeah, guys, those were the 2 games. Goat Simulator, weird as F, and probably fun. We'll see how it is. Again, an IP that is got no significance to me, but Princess Bride is so freaking exciting. Was such a big fan of this movie when I was a kid. I mean, how could I not be? Big wrestling fan. Andre the Giant was in it. Told a wonderful story. Loved the Princess Bride. Super excited for that one. But that wasn't all that was revealed during yesterday's Pinball Bites. They also introduced us to the newest employee at Zen Studios. She does reviews and a bunch of different stuff there. She came on to give us some hints on the next 3 Williams games coming to Pinball FX. We got 1 game coming from 1988 and 2 games coming from 1989. Now, you guys know I'm super excited about this. I love me some Zen Studios, Pinball FX, Williams games. That's what I'm here for more than anything else. The recreations of the actual pinball machines. So super excited for this. But the question is, what machines are we getting? So obviously the easy thing to do is to look up what Bally Williams games were released in 1988 and 1989. I want to say a huge thank you to Joseph McMira in the Pinball FX community group. He did all the legwork for us. So we take a look at some of the games that are out there. Bad Cats is absolutely a possibility. Police Force, Pool, I don't think that we got a chance. Black Knight 2000, that's one I would put high up on the realm of possible. Earthshaker also, in my opinion, is a very possible. Jokers from 1988, that's one I would consider, but my biggest one from 1988 that I think they should do, awesome pinball game, is Taxi. So Taxi is my most probable, with Jokers coming in there after the 1988 game. Now you move over. They've also got Swords of Fury, which they have already done. Banzai Run is also a possibility for 1998. They've already done Cyclone, so that's obviously not going to be it. We go to 1989, Mousing Around, and this is the one I'm the most excited for. Elvira and the Party Monsters. Oh my god. Can you imagine Elvira and the Party Monsters? You think about this is the next 3 Williams games. I've been saying till I'm blue in the face. Every October rolls around and there's no Elvira game done for Halloween. This is your chance. This is your chance. Zen Studios, if you're out there, you're listening, you don't plan on doing Elvira and the Party Monsters, stop everything you're doing. Figure out a way, make it happen. We need Elvira on Pinball FX. There is no celebrity more synonymous and more important to pinball than Elvira, so make it happen, Captain. So we got a couple more there. Ice Castle, Atlantis, Transported to the Rescue, Alice in Wonderland, Truck Stop, Ramp Warrior, Blackwater, Escape from the Lost World. And guys, that's everything that's coming up for Pinside as a Bally Williams game from 1988 to 1989. Here's my personal top 3 picks, what I'd like to see them release. Number 1 in 1988, release Taxi. Number 2 in 1989, either Black Knight 2000 or Earthshaker. I think I'm going to lean with Earthshaker right now, even though Black Knight 2000 has some fantastic music. I'm leaning with Earthshaker right now. We know Black Knight 2000 is eventually going to come up. And last but not least, Elvira and the Party Monsters. So Taxi, Earthshaker, Elvira and the Party Monsters for that October game. That would be the perfect lineup. So friggin' excited for that. Now next up, we got a bit of Arcade1Up news. And this is actually Arcade1Up business news. Now I don't really want to talk about this, but I got to give credit first off to my buddy Kevin Clausen, who actually sent me this through Facebook Messenger. I looked at it first and I was like, oh, okay, Arcade1Up have switched distributors. No big deal. But I actually took some time to read through it, and it turns out it might be a big deal after all. Now, I know this is probably not the first you're actually hearing of this news. Now, apparently, James Hates Everything has already covered this in detail with all the little bits and bytes of news about this article that came out, and he had a very interesting title for his video. I mean, look at that thumbnail. Like, I don't really understand what's going on there. James uses a lot of AI, but like he actually put some words in there, and Arcade1Up sold their soul. That's a little bit dramatic, James. I don't know what you mean they sold their soul. But yeah, okay, they sold their soul. They met the demon at the crossroads and they just gave it all up. Anyways, guys, if you want a really detailed, deep dive into everything from this article and what it means for Arcade1Up, go check out James's video. I'm not going to focus on the entire article. I'm just going to talk about one specific thing which I think could be good news for Arcade1Up, and one other thing that former employees of the company are telling me could be bad news. So obviously the key article here is Alliance Entertainment signs exclusive distribution with Arcade1Up for retail and website fulfillment in North America. Now previously a company by the name of Kokum was doing their distribution and website fulfillment in the past, so they have moved on now to Alliance Entertainment. So I want to go down and talk about something specific that they're talking about. Get through all the numbers and all that foolishness, but here is where it gets interesting. We are focused on expanding our distribution of Arcade1Up products to retailers and e-commerce consumers. There are products that bring smiles and joys to consumers of all ages. Pac-Man, for example, is one of the most globally recognized brands and will continue to drive demand for years to come. Oh, we Arcade1Up fans know that. We've seen many upon many Pac-Man releases over the years. So here's the big one. A robust assortment of Arcade1Up products is stocked in the Alliance warehouse and shipped directly to our retail partners, consumers. This represents significant sales for these retailers with zero risk. Now, this is the point that I want to talk about, because one of the key reasons we're not seeing a lot of stuff from Arcade1Up, whether it be in the US or in Canada right now, is the retailers are extremely risk adverse when it comes to Arcade1Up. They're very nervous about taking on stock. So what this means is, with this piece in place, retailers might not have in-store stock or store kiosks anymore, but what they will be able to do is offer online sales like Best Buy, Walmart, Costco. All these companies can offer, Amazon can offer online sales of Arcade1Up with absolutely no risk of being stuck with products and then having to, lose money on them or try to get buybacks from Arcade1Up to do them. So now this is a basically no risk endeavor for the retailers to sell their products. Now, some of this is already being done in Canada for years through the retailer here. You might buy something from Walmart, but it might actually come directly from the retailer. We've already seen that for years. It comes from straightforward sales directly. But here, they're doing it a little bit differently in the US now, that these retailers, Walmart, Amazon, Targets, Kohl's, Wayfair, BJ's Wholesale Club. BJ's Wholesale Club? What's that about? Not familiar with that one. Nebraska Furniture Mart, Dell, QVC, HSN, Home Depot, PC Richard, and many more will be getting all their stock directly from the retail Alliance Entertainment's warehouses. They won't have any stock on hand. So, there's less risk, so maybe they'll take more products. So that means that Arcade1Up can then basically go to a supplier and say, we're bringing out X cab, and then instead of the retailer saying, oh, we'll buy 5,000, or they're worried about holding on to them, now if they agree to go forward, they're left with no supply, they're left with no warehouse, they're left with no inventory holding up space. So this could be a very positive thing for Arcade1Up. In another category where this could be a very positive thing, in the past when Arcade1Up have tried to sell certain cabs, Alien vs. Predator being one we know of most recently, but in the past a cab like Double Dragon or the Sonic cab or Tapper, they show these demos to stores and then the stores say, nah, we're not interested. Now, Arcade1Up has opened up an opportunity to make whatever the hell they want, make what they think will sell. And now, with there being no actual store inventory risk, we might get to see more of these interesting and unique cabs come out, because we're not stopped right now with that, I don't know what the term is, barrier going forward that the retailer has to stock these cabs in their store. They have to take on the supply. The supply is coming directly from the warehouse, so that means now Arcade1Up might not have that barrier and we might see some cool new stuff. The downside of this is, for those of you out there that only like Arcade1Up, when there's a fire sale and they go on sale for $50 to $100 to $150, like we saw with the Blitz cabs that were overstocked at Sam's, this probably means we're not going to get that anymore, with stores no longer taking on their own stock and then feeling forced that they have too much retail space taken up. We're no longer going to get the fire sales. So keep that in mind. Now, one other significant piece of news can be taken from this article that I did want to talk about, and right here it said, Dora DeVere, CEO of Tastemakers. So we were all wondering who took over the company after Scott was relieved of his duties or he left. We didn't know who was leading the charge at Arcade1Up at Tastemakers. We now know it's Dora DeVere. Now, that may be a positive, but according to a couple Arcade1Up former employees I've spoke to, actually a little bit more than a couple, a lot of people blame Dora for a lot of the problems at Arcade1Up that resulted in the company doing things that were not community friendly. Dora, previous to this, was the COO, CFO of Tastemakers, and according to these employees, some of her involvement negatively impacted the way the company moved forward and some of the decisions they made. So now we know Dora is in charge. This is a bit of good news that we're getting this new Alliance Entertainment distribution deal because there's less risk to the retailers, more chance of stuff coming out and unique stuff the retailers don't have to buy first. But the question is, what kind of stuff will they move forward with Dora in charge? Because if you listen to these previous employees, a lot of the decisions for products that the community didn't like mainly came from Dora. So we'll have to see. So anyways, guys, quick news blast this Friday. Just talking about some stuff that's going on. Of course, that Arcade1Up news. Go check out James Hates Everything for his detailed analysis of the sales report, but just my 2 cents, I think this could be a really good thing. The fact that they no longer are withholding so much to the retailers that now there's less risk of retailers selling their product because Arcade1Up and Alliance Entertainment are going to be holding all the stock. There's nothing being taken up in the warehouse. Maybe this is a good thing, and we can get more unique and interesting products out there. Arcade recreations that don't have to pass the sniff test. I'll go back to the Star Wars XL at Costco. Now no longer do they have to get approval for that stuff. They can just say, hey, we're releasing a Star Wars XL and we want you guys to stock it, and the store says cool beans. Hopefully that's the way it works. Anyways, the second part about the new CEO, some employees blame her for the bad things that happened in the past. I guess the future will tell us the story of what kind of company this is going to be going forward. Then on top of that, Pinball FX kicking all kinds of ass. Goat Simulator, weird choice for an IP. Princess Bride, A+ IP. Very excited for that, and very interested to see what the next 3 Williams games are. Fingers crossed, Elvira and the Party Monsters for Halloween. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of the Arcade1Up news? What do you think of Pinball FX and what Zen Studios is doing? And what are your guesses for the 3 Bally Williams games we're going to get from Zen Studios coming up next? Remember, 1 game from 1988 and 2 games from 1989. Anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie. I'll talk to you next time.